There's never been a better time, a more exciting time for phone design. Just think about it. This morning, you got up, you jumped into the shower, you put your clothes on, you start, driving down the highway, and then you reach back and you go, uh-oh, I forgot my wallet. Well, the first thing I'm going to think about is, am I going to borrow $5 from Florian to kind of get through lunch, maybe pay for parking at the end of the day. But, life goes on. Probably not going to miss much throughout the day. But, if I reach back and I go, uh-oh, I forgot my phone. Well, now my entire life is upside down. The first thing I'm going to think about is, which strange exit am I going to get off from, on the highway, and then going through this strange neighborhood I'm not familiar with, so I can make a U-turn and go home and kind of reboot my morning, so to speak. Because a phone is more than just a phone today. It is probably the most personal object you own. Kind of like what a watch used to be. That's why the design and the use of material in the design of the phone is more important than ever. Take a watch for example. When you buy a watch, you're not going to think about plastic watch. You might if you're buying it for your kid, right? Something temporary. But for yourself, you can think about a little more sophisticated materials like metal, right? You can think about the little details, right? The finishes on it. Does it have hairline, polish, how the edges feel? Does it have little facets on it so it reflects light differently? How does it feel in your hand? That's why I'm so proud of what the team has accomplished over the last year. They've taken probably the most challenging material of all, metal, and built phones out of them. It started with HTC Londra, really, earlier this year, where they took a solid piece of aluminum and then they forged it, and then they carved it and polished it into an entire phone. Well, with Desire HD and Desire Z, the design team has taken that both process of using aluminum and design to a whole new level. The first thing you'll notice with Desire HD is this 4.3-inch, bigger-than-life display. But we know today that people do a lot more than just multimedia on the phone. They're doing emails, internet, and now they're even reading books. Well, that's why we have partnered up with Kobo and developed a very natural end-to-end experience. So you can read books, you can get recommendations to books, you can buy books, you can read books, you can highlight within a book, you can even take notes in the book, and then you can also come back to the book at a later time and actually see all this at the end of the book. Very easy experience, as natural as if you're picking up a book. The next thing you'll notice about Desire HD is this 8 megapixel camera and the dual flash. But we all know that there's a lot more to a photo experience than a great camera and great performance. Well, that's why the team has been working really hard on developing a number of fun effects, including distortion, fisheye, sepia, vignettes. So now you can have fun with photos and make any photo the center of every conversation. Of course, with big screen, you need big sound. How many of you guys have ever watched a video or a movie on a small device and something just doesn't feel right? It doesn't feel like you're at home watching a movie, right? It's just not big enough. Well, that's why we've been working with Dolby to integrate both Dolby Mobile and SRS. So now, watching movies and listening to music is just a front row experience. Big display, big sound, a killer photo experience, and all the latest and greatest of HTC Sense and HTCSense.com that John talked about. This is the best of all of what HTC has done, packaged into one single handset. We also know that at HTC that people like things that are different from each other. A lot of you have actually written me. Ben, for example, has written me an email and said, "Horace, what's going on? You guys don't build, sliding keyboard handsets anymore." Well, it's actually been quite the opposite. Our designers have been working very, very hard, almost stalking out users, so to speak. They've been following them, both in labs and also outside, looking at ergonomics, looking at the behaviors, the natural behaviors, the tasks they do when they're on the go with a hardware keyboard, right? Because some people are used to just touchscreen keyboard, and some people they want that dependable hardware keyboard. Well, one of the things I've noticed inside the lab when I actually visit some of these visits was I noticed that people, I saw a girl with a slightly longer fingernail, right? Or a guy with a slightly bigger thumb. And they're always doing this. How many of you guys have seen this, right? They're doing this on the keyboard, try and get to the top row of the keys. That actually inspired us as designers to come up with something very innovative. A hinge that we call the Z hinge. Well, what this hinge does is that it not only slides the keyboard out, but it also pops the display down so that you can rest your finger onto the keyboard naturally as you type. No more acrobats with your front fingers, trying to avoid the thumb jamming against the top case. You will also see that we pay a lot of attention to the keyboard design, both ergonomically and also just in simple layout. You'll notice that on the upper left-hand corner, no longer do you have to go, symbol, shift, and then click something in order to get back. Because we know people want to do email on a device like this. That just makes sense. We also programmed in a couple programmable keys on the lower right-hand corner, where you can program in your favorite tasks, like calling a person, sending a person a text message, even launching an application. So now you can multitask at any time without ever lifting your thumb from the keyboard. And of course, for those people who come from years of using hardware keyboards, there are certain things that they just are used to and now it's become second nature to them. Things such as, while they're reading an email, just simply click R to reply email, F to forward one, A to reply all. Well, the design team has built that into the phone, so now it's more natural than ever for them to use the phone. HTC has innovated on the hardware keyboard, and I believe this time the design team has raised the bar once again for the industry. Thanks.